Other people are looking for something a little different, right? So let's talk about your process because I'd love to know, like, when you say attitude, what are you looking for specifically?
We're looking for growth mindset. We're looking for those type of people who are wanting to get the work done in a timely manner with quality. Uh, and we coach, like our industry is a lot of times is really looked down upon. Like you're just a cleaner. And I don't like that because we're not just a cleaner.
Welcome to the Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help manufacturing executives command the front and win the floor. I'm Richard Walsh, creator of the Sharpened Impact methodology, and I spent decades helping leaders transform frontline teams, unlock hidden profit, and capture capacity they didn't even know they had. If you want to see where your leadership gaps are costing you and how to fix them, head over to grittolead.com and run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator today. Let's sharpen your edge and get started. And we are back on STS, Sharpen the Spear podcast, with another incredible guest. I've got Judith. I'm terrible at late names. Virag. Is Virag, are we
Got it.
good?
Yeah, you
Judith
got it.
Virag. Okay. You can, this is it's not getting to be standard, but it happens every now and then. But regardless, Judith, and this is why this is important. No one knows you better than Judith. Judith, give us the backstory, bring us up to speed, and we will get into the conversation because it's going to be better than my intro.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate your time. So my name is Judith Virag. I am a refugee. I live in Canada. I am originally from Hungary, born and raised. I was 15 when we left, spent 3 years in a refugee camp, and then we got to beautiful Canada. 3 months shy of my 18th birthday. I went to high school here, which is really lucky. I loved every minute of it. And then I started my career just as an executive assistant, receptionist. I worked myself up as an executive assistant. And I just got burnt out because I was good and I loved doing what I did. And I was a workhorse. So everything landed on my desk that was not my responsibility. I don't regret a minute because I learned so much. And then one day I just said, okay, I'm just going to go clean toilets because I am accountable. I know what to do. And I started with 2 clients and now I grew my business. We're forecasting 1.5 million, which is in my industry is like the top 6%. So I love what I do. I can give back to my community, especially to the newcomers community. And I'm a mentor, I'm a coach. So all of that. I'm married. I've been married for almost 25 years. We haven't killed each other yet. No kids, just one cat.
All right. Awesome. Well, I've been married. I'll be 26 years next month,
Congrats.
but I have 6 kids and lots of cats.
Wow.
So I used to have
Ooh.
more cats. I only have like a couple now, but so we're there. But that's awesome. That's great to hear. It's interesting, Judith, when you talk about when you're the executive assistant, because it's a challenging position because you're the everything person to someone, right? And like you said, and I really love how it happened, what the outcome was, because what they do is they just keep stacking the deck on you, don't they? Because you get it done. And it becomes this reliance on the person. This is a big business takeaway, right? So pretty soon you are actually you're the most valuable individual in the whole place, right? Without you, like things don't get done, right? Everyone's messed up. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that when that works until that person leaves. Okay. And now you're starting over again and there's no real systems or processes and things like that. Right. So you have this dependency on one single person, which I see a lot in businesses. Right. And that's all good until it's not and they're gone. And then you're standing there like a deer in the headlights. Right.
And I agree with that, but fortunately and unfortunately, everybody's replaceable, right? So I, I, in my opinion, and what's not replaceable is the attitude of the person, because of course we hire for attitude. and we can train the rest, especially in the cleaning industry. So I am a really big believer of valuing my team. And yes, if I were to lose like my office admin, my supervisor, my sales rep right now, that would be a big hit because we have a great team.
Well, I get, yeah, no, you're right. What I'm saying is that here's the problem. It's not that, because I have a saying, and it's everyone leaves. Okay, because they all do. It might be 5 years, might be 5 months, might be their first break. Who knows, right? So we get that, but the key to it, and I'll just hit this real quick, is the next person has to plug into a system. The problem, I guess I'll clarify kind of what I was saying, is the problem when you're dependent on just a person and they're not working inside of a system, it's not repeatable, right? So they can leave, but that new person comes and they just don't have any clue what to do. And then you as the owner tend to want to just tell them to figure it out and just keep dumping more stuff on them, right? Because you don't realize what you've accumulated over time working there, right? You all of a sudden you know how to do everything. Well, it's easy now, right? But fresh eyes that get dropped in this slot, that's where the struggle is. And the struggle is for the owner.
Yeah.
The onus is going to be on the owner for that, so that's all. But you're exactly right. And I think
training the other person, the new person, for sure. It takes a lot of time.
It does. So let me ask you this: when you just said you're hiring for attitude, so let's break this down a little bit because I love that. Okay, because we look for character, we look for calling, we look for competency, right? We look for these different things, but the more businesses I coach, the more people I talk to on podcasts and everything else, we've all got this kind of idea. Some people have really good hiring practices, some not so much. Some are, hey, you got a heartbeat, you can work here. Other people are looking for something a little different, right? So let's talk about your process, because I'd love to know, like, when you say attitude, what are you looking for specifically?
We're looking for growth mindset. We're looking for those type of people who are wanting to get the work done in a timely manner with quality. And we coach, like our industry is a lot of times is really looked down upon. Like you're just a cleaner. And I don't like that, because we're not just a cleaner. We come into the customers' homes. We are doing a chore that they don't want to do. They don't have time to do. They are maybe not good at it. And in overall mental health plays in like how tidy is your place, how clean is your place. So we really play into that arena. We're making, happy places, happy homes, happy offices, for people to come into and either live in or work in. So I need people like that who understand that I have a servant type of leadership, and then I need to have people who are servant type. They understand that. So when we are hiring, we have a lot of conversations about that, and try to ask questions. Like one of our best questions that we ask, for example, is how lucky do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10? And then they tell you, and then we are like, oh, okay, so tell me more. Why that number? And obviously if anybody's below 5, you're like, they're not going to be a right fit, because they're going to find a problem to every solution. And we don't need that kind of attitude. So looking for growth mindset. I get criticized a lot too, because our industry is high turnover. So of course, people who are growth mindset, cleaning is a stepping stone for them. But my attitude is like, if I got them for like 3, 4, 5 years, I'm lucky. I am lucky, because it's hard work. It's physical. People are going to get burnt out. And then we have some weeks that, moving clean and deep clean just comes up. And then you might do 2 or 3 of those, and it gets really hard on your body. So that's how I look at it. And, I would love to have people for life, but I feel like in our industry, they would burn out, and they just would get, they would provide worse quality.
Well, I think you're right there. I mean, everything, and this is one of those business realities that you have a business, and it doesn't matter if it's a cleaning business or it's a manufacturing business. It doesn't matter. like there's ceilings at different levels, right? People can only go so far, even if they're able to go from one position to the next position. Eventually, they're going to cap out, and they either, if they want more, have to go start their own business so they can be the owner and be top of the top, But for the most part, they either have to be content, and most people are. Not everybody's an entrepreneur, right? So now I'm going to go start a business, but I think you're very spot on with the physical aspect of jobs. I remember way back, I was coming out of the Marine Corps and I was working for this landscape company, and I'm a worker. Like I can work. And so we're tearing up the side, and I'm a mile ahead of everybody else. Right. So we're having lunch, and this older Mexican guy sits down next to me. I'm the only white guy in the whole crew. Okay. It's all Mexicans. That's landscaping, right? But I love it. So I'm doing that. I'm going to, and he goes, "Hey, I got to ask you see all these guys?" And I'm looking, he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "They're going to do this for the rest of their life, and you're probably not. So could you kind of go, we want to go third gear all day, not fourth gear? Because we can't do fourth gear all day for the next 30 years." And I was like, "Dude, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard, man. You're right. You're right, man. I'm sorry. Like I just get things done." He goes, "Oh, I get it." He goes, "But dude, you're not staying here." I go, "You're right." This is just a holding pattern until I get my own thing going. So it was really, that was one of the nicest things, the nicest, I don't want to call it a criticism. It was like this really cool ask, like, "Listen, man, it wasn't because I'm making them look bad. It's like I'm doing too much too fast. Stuff's timed and everything else. It's the system that they had." So I totally get it. And in the cleaning industry, I had a client who was a cleaning at multiple locations too. And it's hard, right? It's keeping the people. Okay. And again, like you said, if you get, I always try to attach ROI to retention. Like, so is it a 2-year point? When do they start becoming an asset? You've trained them, you spent the time, you got them working. Is it at 6 months, 8 months, 12 months? When do you get your return on your investment? We always look at that and say, okay, well, man, if you stay here 2 years, I'm doing really well. Like you're saying, 3 to 5 years, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. And I totally see where that goes. And that's a common, it's a common thing that I see a lot, and retention is a big thing in keeping people. So it seems like you've also built a system, though, that gets them to 3 to 5 years. Is that right?
Yeah. So I had a business meltdown in 2017, I want to say 16, 17. And you know how you're struggling with your marriage, and then you're either looking for a therapist or a divorce lawyer.
Right.
So I went for a therapist.
Good
So
for
I
you.
looked for a business coach.
Yeah.
And funny enough, he was also in the Canadian Forces. I tend to gravitate towards that. I like the structured people, and we worked together for 7 years. And he taught me building a culture. So
Very good.
I come from being an executive assistant and being a social butterfly. Everybody flocks to your desk. They want things from you. You provide those things. And, when they come in, you have like conversations and da 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 da. So it's a busy place. And then I went to owning a business and making all the mistakes possible. Like I heard family and friends. And then, all the, drama started. I participated in the gossip and the drama, and I just was like literally pulling my hair out. So I really shut down. I came to this lonely place. I think I found a good balance now where I can keep those relationships very professional, but I couldn't in the beginning. And so Vince taught me, let's develop your voice. What do you want? What kind of people do you want to work with? So we built up our core values, and we use them to this day. I built it up with the team that I currently had, and we basically hire on those core values, and just a lot of baby steps. And then if I look at where I was then and where I am now, I'm gonna say it's day and night. And it's so many baby steps. I can't even tell you how many. And consistency. Every day working at it. every day, everyday learning. Like for me, it's like having the hard conversations. Like how am I going to make it easier for me to step into that hard conversation? And what I've learned is I got to do it. It's best for my team member and it's best for me if we have that hard conversation right away. And then I also learned that a lot of hard conversations, they actually turn out really nice. Really few that are going to turn into like a shouting match or even like not even a shouting match. I don't shout, like I was being shouted at,
Right.
and that was really difficult. But it's very few. So I'm just going to say like maybe 1 in 5 years.
Yeah. Well,
So
oh,
removing that fear, and
yeah.
then and just like learning, like I like to say I'm that little puppy that never grows into its skin. That's me, because I need to continuously improve myself. My motto is I want to be the best leader in my industry, because my industry is actually well known for not good leaders.
Right.
And the only reason is because somebody who's a good cleaner, they might get referred, they become a business owner, but they don't have the back end that I had, like all that admin and all that kind of stuff. And Vince taught me this, my business coach, because I never even thought about it, what a kind of strong background I have to run the business.
Right. It's
So like
really
that's
important to
how.
understand. Yeah, no, I totally get it. That's really good. I think when you talk about conflict resolution, we'll put that tag on it, right? The sooner you can address stuff. Okay. Like, and that's why if you can get to it right away, that's why it's not a big deal. If you wait, people, their mind is,
Oh
the
yeah.
story is growing
Oh
every
yeah.
minute. Okay. And they're
Oh yeah.
just, they're in the morning, they're just thinking like that. Yeah, she's just, I'm just, and it's none of that. But you have to have that direct, like, take care of it now. Go to them now. Let's talk and just calm. Okay, man, I think I'm seeing this. Is this an issue? I'm kind of hearing this or that real quick from everyone. Did something happen? Did I do something? And like whatever that looks like in those situations, the sooner you can address it, it's like you said, it's nothing. And the people will love you for it.
And also, I think you have to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. So for a business owner, you have to develop good emotional intelligence and know yourself, know thyself,
Mhm.
and hiring people who are smarter than you are. Like
Yep.
I hired more than 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, a supervisor, and she is just excellent at conflict resolution, hard conversations. Because I knew I wasn't. I knew I was
Right.
struggling in that arena. I'm learning from her every day how she handles some of the situations that we have. And then also, you're going to have situations. If you're going to put your head in the sand and you're going to think that, oh my God, this is going to be wonderful. And you're dealing with people, and everybody's different. Everybody has different trauma, different triggers, and, different beliefs and everything. So, yeah, I'm learning from my supervisor so much every day. She's
And
great at
that's,
it.
yeah, see, and that's another great takeaway, Judith, because you want to hire great people. They need to be better than you. If I can do everything the best, okay, well, first I'm lying to myself. Okay, there's plenty of people I can do almost everything better than me. Okay, I may do the one thing that I'm great at that I can make a claim, but for the most part, give me the great ones and let them get in and do their thing.
Yeah,
And give them the reins to do it. Watch them, man. This is great. Learn from them, like you said, skill up. Skill up from the stuff that they're bringing to the table. But now you can focus on growing the business. You're not worried about having to go, get the vacuum cleaner and go work. You know what I mean? So it's really good. In your industry, I want to kind of jump back to one thing you mentioned earlier, and it's when people look down at the profession and stuff like you're just cleaning. I just don't have that kind of mindset. But here's how I think from a business standpoint. I go, I know who I want to serve. Like this is one of the things that a lot of new entrepreneurs, especially in this service area like yours, they just want to clean because that means they'll make money. And they haven't defined who they actually want to clean for.
Yeah, they are the ideal customer profile. Yeah.
Right, the ICP, right? But it's like you have to understand, like, okay, so if you know who they are, what would they expect, right? You're in their home, and it's probably a magnificent home, and you're in the clean it, like you said, to keep it organized so they come home to that. Hey, at the end of the day, I prep my office so it's perfect. Like I want to walk in, I don't want to come into a mess in the morning. So whatever time is the end of the day, everything is like down, come in, and I walk in and go, it's good to be here. Yeah, it's like say I want to come here because I have 6 kids. I mean, they're older now, but that's a little chaotic. So my favorite day of the week used to be Monday because the weekends were just chaos. I mean, it was fun chaos, but it
Yeah.
was chaos. So for a structure guy, like me and you, someone like you, we like that, right? So I think when you're bringing that, when you're developing your business, the plan, the culture that you have is training your people to understand who we're serving. Do you do that? Is that a big part of what you do? Because that mindset when they're in the home cleaning, that matters, right? They're seeing different things because of who they're serving, not because this is what we do all the time, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And we have two ideal customer profiles, and one is a working um, professional couple, and the other one is like the families, right? Because
Mhm.
those are the ones that need most the help. And we understand, like, when we go in and let's say they just had a new baby and the house is of chaos, and like you see that the grocery, like the mom had run in and the trunk is open and the groceries are
Right,
there, we would carry in the groceries and everything.
right.
Understanding their struggles, understanding, like, we have a lot of things we sign. They signed a confidentiality agreement. We don't really talk about what's happening in customers' homes, obviously.
Right.
And but there's a lot of things that can happen to a family, to a couple. They can go through divorce, they can go through a new relationship, they can bring in a new puppy, a new kitten, a new baby. Like, we all know, you've gone through
Mhm.
it. So we're going with the flow. And you will get some customers who are a bit easier, and you will get some customers who are a bit higher maintenance. But I actually really, really like the higher maintenance clients, because that's where we learn the most, and that's where my team learns the most. Like, don't do this, don't do that. Like, I'll give you an example, because I started on my own. So I would bring in my bucket and I put it on the counter, and then I had this customer, she had a beautiful home, and she's like, can you please not put it on the counter, because I don't know where that bucket has been. And I'm like, oh, boom, light bulb.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
of course. So you're learning from your customers about their preferences, how they want things done. And this was very basic. So of course I implemented it in my training program. Do not put the bucket on the counter. A matter of fact, put down a towel and put it on there on the floor, right? So just paying attention to the details. So listening to the customers, and just sometimes just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Because you get into a situation that's not what they told you that was going to happen. It's completely different. And I think it's really good for the team too, because there's a lot of variety and they learn a lot about themselves and about the job as well.
Yeah, for sure. Long time ago, right? I've been married a long time, but I was dating a woman for a couple of years, very high end. Okay. Very high end, high maintenance. Had the cleaning crew all the time, a couple times a week in this townhouse. Okay. It's a small place. It's her,
Mhm.
and she had 2 daughters at the time, right? Um, she, well, to be nice, she was a lunatic. Okay. Well, we came home, we came back to the house, and the cleaning crew had just left. Okay. So this was just, she opens the door, like, look, so you're like in the little kind of foyer, the stair goes up and kitchen's on the, and I'm like, she looks and she bends down and she wipes her hand on the floor and sees like dust, and then she gets on that phone, Judith, and went banana. I mean, you better get the Evan back here and this and this. And you better come back. I'm like, wow. I mean, that was one of my signals. Like, this may not be the girl for me. Okay. So,
Red
like,
flag, red flag.
but she's like, I'm like, she was just out of her mind. I mean, the place was spectacular. I mean, it was clean. It's like, I don't know. I mean, dust could have come in when you opened the door. I have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, open it outside, but I'm like, that reaction, that was one of those things like, okay, you talk about people and attitude. Holy cow. But I don't wish that customer on anybody. Okay.
Well,
Because,
and actually, it's a great thing that, everybody's cleanliness level is
hmm
different.
hmm
So us in the cleaning industry trying to put in a standard, like that's not good enough. This is what's good enough. And then, you have the customers that you do one quick wipe and they're like, oh my God, how beautiful you clean and da-da-da. And then you have these customers who, like they follow you around and whatever. Of course, I actually would fire that customer
right.
because when somebody's following my team around, that puts a lot of stress on
hmm
that person, and they're not going to perform at their best. Actually, that's when they're going to make the biggest mistakes,
hmm
right?
And
So
yeah.
I'm totally okay firing a customer.
Yeah. That's another key point to good business. Understand who you're serving. Right? There's people who are not going to be satisfied. They think because they hold the checkbook that they can do whatever they want. Okay. And it's like, no, there's a balance here, right? It's like there's respect. We're eye to eye. Okay. There's a respect thing here. We're here to clean your beautiful home, and we have a level that we perform at, but that like you said, looking over the shoulder and all that kind of stuff, you get that. We get that. And it is important to get rid of those kind of people. So there's one thing I ask, because you mentioned this, like, and every business is going to be different. Every cleaning service is going to be different. But that is, what's the low bar? What's the high bar? Right. So we always have these discussions about, well, what is acceptable? What's our minimum standard? Because your people who work for you, they need that, right? You got to know, you go below this, you don't work here anymore.
Yeah.
Right. But here's the minimum. And this is the challenge, right? Here's the minimum we expect. Okay, you can't go below that. High bar, maybe there's no ceiling, but there is. There is a high bar. Like, we're not up, repainting the ceiling. Okay, we're not doing stuff like that, right? So it's kind of hard to determine those parameters for them, because you actually don't want someone at a low bar unless your low bar is real high. So it's the challenge, right? Do you find that in this industry?
Yeah, but you gotta communicate with your team. Like when you're going to start working here, these are going to be your measurements. One of your measurement is going to be, are you showing up to work? Are you calling in and sick all the time? If that happens, this is not the right place for you. I do have a lot of counterparts in the United States, and in Canada, we're very lucky because we have 3-month probationary period where both I, the employer, and the team member can say, hey, this isn't working for me. So that's one big measurement. Obviously, are you reliable? It's one of our core values. The other one is, are you meeting customer expectations? So we survey the customers after each cleaning, and the rate of response is about 30%, so it's not that bad, and they have to be above 95%. Okay, and then there's another measurement that our system is great. It provides all these numbers, and it also provides to the team member, is they gotta be above 105 productivity. And I know it sounds like kind of funny, but the system, how it works, it
Right.
just provides that number. Basically, they need to try to work under time. So if they have a 4-hour job, let's try to get that done in like 3 hours and 50 minutes, right? Because
Right.
that's where we actually make the money. And those are the big three. And then the biggest one for us is your attitude. And we have an employee journey, so we check in with them like day 10, day 30, day 60, day 90. Day 90, we actually take them out for lunch and have a bigger discussion, because that's their probationary period, and then they get a raise. And then we have 6-month check-in, a year check-in, and after that we have annual review. But we also have instant feedback, because customers will give you feedback. They see that, so we need to discuss that. So my supervisor is in charge of that, right? So I think it's how you communicate, and you're setting them up for success, that these are the things that you gotta meet. And if you can't meet it, then let's have a discussion. Do you need retraining? Do you need some more time with the trainer? Do you need one specific area? So like, for example, my house was cleaned by a new person on Wednesday. She didn't catch the corners. I have cat litter, right? We all know how that is. That gets everywhere. So I have to, I had to kind of show it to her, and she was very intimidated because I'm the boss, right? And but we had a really good discussion, like, oh, okay, you're doing great. The bathrooms look fantastic and whatever. And just the vacuuming that you got to concentrate on. So I told her, you already got the bulk of it because you did such a good job in the kitchen and the bathrooms. So getting the vacuuming is just going to be a piece of cake for you.
Yeah.
So, having that honesty with them, and support for us is really big. Like I talked about servant leadership. It's supporting your team member. So, we say there's no stupid question. We use WhatsApp, text in, call in, ask your question, whatever that is.
That is great, because I do with my clients, even my coaching clients, same thing. We use Voxer, the walkie-talkie app.
Yeah.
And that's great because it recorded. And that, I love that as a tool, because we have this whole thing, and it goes the same thing for employees when you got a team. We need instant communication, okay? But not like, so Voxer is, you basically hit the button, you can speak, and it's a recorded message that releases, but it chirps on my end, so I know I'm getting one. And the chirp is because I know it's business and not some regular random text. That ding is the same for everybody, right? So we know that, but they can then ask, and I can answer for my clients the same business day. And if I could do it right then, I answer, because they sent me a 20, 30-second message asking a question. I send them back, hey, Judith, that's a pretty good idea, but here's what might happen. This, and this could happen. So you might want to consider doing this. Let me know what you think. And I'm done. We didn't call, I didn't dial, and then they can respond. And we know that, we don't have to have the immediate conversation, but we can communicate and business can keep moving. That's the key that I found with those kind of tools. Like, business has to keep moving. I can't wait a week to talk to my coach. Okay. I can't store up the problems. It's like, I have one right now. So there's tactical and there's strategic. Like you're saying with your team, it's all tactical. Their issues are they got an issue on site right now. They call the supervisor. They can communicate, get it done. Boom, on they go. They can stay on point, stay on time, because time's a big thing for you, like you said.
Yeah.
They got to, that. And if they have to mull around and try to actually come up with a solution, that could add minutes and 10 minutes and 15 minutes, or it might not even get done. So I really like that you've got that in place, and have that part of the system. It's what a lot of people lack.
But we also ask questions. So our supervisor, when she's out on the job and somebody's struggling with something, she will ask questions. So we try to make them think, like, what would you do? How would you handle this situation? And same in our staff meeting. Like, our staff meeting is part like, we got to get some things done because it's admin. And then part is like, okay, let's talk about, this is what happened. Was this a good thing? Was this a bad thing? How we should have handled it? Did we handle it right? So we have really candid discussions about, what's going on with the business. And we involve the field staff, so the cleaners as well, our team members who are in the field, because it's really important for them to learn. And then you coach them, and eventually they become, self-sufficient, which you want, right? Less questions, less, time. And they are just, oh, I know what to do. This is what happened last time. I know what to do. And in cleaning, and not only in cleaning, but I think any kind of service-based company, it's hard, because I tell my team members, like, cleaning is like not brain surgery, but it's so close because there's so many things you got to know, right? So yeah, that's how we try to help them. Ask questions, and then sometimes you just gotta go, oh, okay, so you can't get into the house, this is what you gotta do.
Yeah, we implement this and go the 3S, and it's when there's a problem, they have it right. First, it's what's the situation, okay, and then I want you to bring a couple solutions. What would you consider solutions, and then your suggestion of that solution, right? If you can come to me with those three things, I go, okay, Judith, well, yeah, you gave me A and B and C. I'm like, you're choosing B, which again, I think is really good. but here, this could be perfect. Or, hey, there's a couple of things you might want to actually go see because this and this will happen. You're like, okay, great. Boom. But now you're training them as problem solvers. Like you said, you do need to train people. And I think that's where a lot of people drop the ball is they're not training their people to be problem solvers. And I think sometimes in the owner's mind and entrepreneurial mind is they feel like they're giving away, I don't know what, authority or secrets or something. Like, no, I want them to, but it's weird. The brain is strange. Okay, people's egos are involved in this and everything else. We're like, no, I want to teach them how to solve problems. And just by starting with the solutions, they're going to learn, like, you know what? I know exactly what to do and do it. I'm not saying you can't put a solution in play, but if you're confused or you're afraid to, bring them to me. But you got to come prepared with all three, right? We'll walk through it and you're back to work, right? And then we save all that time, because too many
Yeah,
times there's,
super.
it's really challenging when you're not coaching your people, and coaching is the right word to use. It's not even it's not you train them and they get going, but now it's coaching. Everything on from there, like your supervisor's a coach. That's what she's doing with your people. It sounds like she's a coach, which is awesome because a way different relationship between a coach and a supervisor, a
Yeah,
boss. So I love it.
yeah. And it's just like when I was a kid, I was allowed to make mistakes. I learned a lot from my mistakes. We had discussions with my mom and dad, like exactly what you're saying, like, oh, okay, this is what you want to do. These are some of the pitfalls, but you go and do whatever you want because you need to learn on your own skin, right? And I learned all of that. And I think nowadays what we're struggling with as business owners is the younger generation coming up, their solving skills are not what you expect them to be, right?
Right.
So you need to um, do a lot of work with that. So I like to bring the comparison that when I went to high school in Hungary and when I went to high school here, the big difference was that high school in Hungary, obviously, because it was the communist system, it was all together. We were against the system. So it was teamwork. And then I come here, and then the teacher's like, you, you gotta do this. So it was all individual. But then the difference was when you got to the workplace here in Canada, everybody like, oh, let's do some teamwork.
Yeah.
But nobody was taught that in high school because it was so individualistic. Maybe when you got to university, I unfortunately didn't have the privilege because we couldn't afford it. But like that's how it is. Like you gotta be kind to your team. They all come from different environments, and you can't call them out like, oh, you can't problem solve. Like, what do you mean? So you just gotta coach them. Like, this is what it
Mhm.
looks like.
That's right.
And then if they try it and feel more comfortable and comfortable, you're actually setting them up for success later in life.
Yeah. And yes, that's for sure, which is a great bonus. But you're also setting up success in your business. Okay, because we want it to be self-running.
Yeah.
We want to get as close to that as we possibly can. And if you're not going to empower your people, okay, and this is the twofold thing you just talked about. If you're not going to teach them to be problem solvers, take initiative, okay, they're not coming with those skills. You just said it. And right now, like I see there's 5 generations working together right now. Like, and they
Yeah.
all do things different. They all think different. They all take orders different. They all need to hear a different thing. Holy cow, what a mess. Okay. So you're trying to navigate as a supervisor, or you own the bit, like you, a millennial communicates this way, a Gen Z this way, a Gen Alpha, who knows? Okay. And you got, then you got boomers, Generation X, you got like, that's a lot of stuff going on there. You're trying to juggle. Okay. So everyone's happy. I'm air quoting happy, right? Not really, so it, once you can learn to train them again to be problem solvers, to be self-efficient on there, they all need that skill regardless of the generation. So start there. It's just how you're going to get that done, and then watch what happens. It's a
And
challenge, but it's worth it.
yeah. And how lucky we are that we're talking about these things now. I don't ever remember when I
Yeah.
was a teenager that I heard this, like, your Generation X. And you know what I
Right.
mean? I
Yeah.
never heard that. And it's well known that Generation X is like we're the workhorses. And sometimes we get into that martyr, side. It's like, oh,
Right.
I've done all this and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not appreciated and da 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 da. So I try to remove that. I have a tendency to go there sometimes, I'll be honest. But yeah, how lucky we are that we have that conversation now, because I think it's so much more, we're so much more aware of what people can do and what their capabilities are based
And I
on
think,
generations.
yeah, I think on that point, what people don't understand is, this generation doesn't want to work, right? We all hear it. For Generation X, you're saying that. Boomers saying that about us. It's every year. I use this example. I was at a World War II reenactment. My son does all this stuff, right? So I'm talking to different vendors. I'm a Marine. He's talking to me. He's another Marine. I'm like, yeah, man. He goes, when were you in? I go, oh, 1983. And he's like, oh man, real Marine. I'm like, I said, you know what's funny about that? We said the same thing about the Vietnam guys. When they
Yeah,
said they were there, we're like, ooh, the real Marines. So all of us think like a previous generation, or even the one for, is like the older generation rather, right? Is it we're the real deal, but they don't
yeah,
understand like every generation is bringing a different skill set. And this as an owner is what you have to tap into. They're bringing new stuff that you're unaware of. Okay. That can aid your business in a big way because they're your future customers also. Like, so we really,
absolutely.
right? So we got to think like, I'm like, no, I need these people. Talk to me. What do you got? What are you bringing? I know they all play a lot of video games. Okay. Put that aside. What else can you do? Okay. Because they have a way of learning. They have a way of communicating that you need to understand because that age is going to be your customer. How are you going to communicate to your customer if you can't communicate with these guys now? You're actually getting a leg up here for your business by bringing them on and figuring it out.
And also it plays into like what kind of mindset you have, because if you have growth mindset, you're gonna look at things differently. You're gonna look at, like, you meet a millennial or a Gen Z who's like, you're in their company and you just feel this energy, and you're like, this is all right. We're gonna be all right here. They
Yeah.
come up with great ideas. My office admin is a millennial, and she is, oh, so fantastic, so fantastic. She'll always come with solutions. And we had a meeting yesterday because I was away for holidays for like 20 days in Turkey. So I was away for quite a while and I was off the grid. I did my thing, I checked my emails and whatever.
Yeah.
And then I feel guilty now because we have this great momentum and I feel like it's all on me. So we had the meeting and my sales rep called me out. And she's like, Judith, you're not like such a big thing. I'm like, oh my God, I needed that. I needed that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because business went on without me. So I just was really honest and I told them that I feel a little bit guilty, like I took too much time off and the business and whatever. And then, so I think that is a great environment when we can have those conversations and they're going to be honest with you, like, hey, you're not such a big, hot shot,
Yeah.
we did our thing. And then she was just trying to explain that how she likes working here because she can make decisions and she's, and she can do the work and nobody's, like we have one-on-ones every week
Yeah.
and we check in and whatnot. And then, if, things really go sideways, then we will, talk right away. But in general, I'm not a micromanager. I cannot be a
Good.
micromanager because then
Oh,
they're
good.
not going to succeed.
Yeah.
They're always going to be looking for direction from this, witch. And I do not want to be that witch. I want to
That
be a
and
different kind of witch.
yeah. No, we have a saying that I teach is we want the owner to focus on their 5%. And that's the 5% of the business only they can do. Everything else someone else is doing, and you've done it. If you leave for 20 days, come back, you're feeling get there like, hey, we had a great time and everything. Look, nothing happened. The place didn't burn down. Okay. All the customers are happy. Everything got done. Like that's the outcome you want. Okay. You want to know, okay, well, next time I'm doing 30 days. Okay. This is great. I'm gonna go, even because I could have easily stayed another week. That would have been awesome. You know what I mean? But that's where we want to go. That should be the goal because you said it just right, Judith. Your people have been empowered. They feel like they have purpose. They're achieving things. They're succeeding on the daily. Because I always tell people, if you don't build your business And if the people that work for you, whoever on team, if they don't know how to succeed, what is success like on the day, the week, the month, the quarter, the year? What does it look like? And if people know how to win every day, guess where they're going to go every day? To
To
work so
work.
they can win, because they get to win. They want to be winners. Everybody wants to
Yeah.
be a winner. And they don't have a bunch of mystery. They know what to do, how to execute it. They get it done. They know their input is heard, right? They get recognition. They get input, quality feedback. They get all that kind of stuff. And I'm saying this because I love what you've done, and I really want owners to take this to heart. Like, you have to shift your mindset to that kind of empowerment mentality. Like you're saying, like, build them up. Okay, let them be good leaders, great leaders build more leaders. Okay, you're not the only leader, nor should you ever want to be. Okay, that is too much burden for anyone to bear.
And that's a bottleneck. That's a big bottleneck.
You know,
Everything,
it's
every decision, everything lands with you. Like, I told my office admin we had something needed to be paid. I'm like, you have authority. You have authority to make a payment like up to $500. You don't need to
right,
ask me. I
right.
trust you. I do all the accounting, so I know right away because I do the accounting every day.
Yep.
So I know if something has gone sideways, right? So yeah, and I just love seeing them happy, and I love them seeing create something new and being involved in the business. I am really proud of them all because they do fantastic job.
Yeah. Well, there's a saying, and you can appreciate this. It all starts at the top. Okay, they're like that because of who you are. Okay, because you've got the mindset, you've taken the initiative to build this and understand this is how a company can thrive, and you know it now, you've seen it, you know, with all your experience, and you're bringing that to the marketplace. You know, so I guarantee you, I know you probably, obviously you said you get the feedback from your clients. It's probably pretty good response, I would imagine, most times when they're on the site, because a lot of people aren't even home, right, when you're cleaning. So maybe, may not, I know it all varies, you know, on time and everything else, but um, goes back to that thing like, listen, you're in someone's home by yourself. Like, you ever think about, like, hey, just see that house over there? Yeah. Well, just go walk in there and walk around. Like, imagine what that would feel like. You're like instantly like, okay, there's all, I mean, we could spend a whole show on that alone, right? But it's just that that's a little uncomfortable. Okay. And now you're
Yeah,
cleaning stuff and finding things. And it's like, I don't know. I give you a lot of credit because it's like, I think I'd find something else to do. Business. I mean,
for
I love
yeah,
it, but
I get it. For me, when I used to clean, I just loved that feeling when I was at the door and I knew I put in like 110%. And I knew that the house looks great, smells great, and the customer's going to be happy. That's a really great feeling. And I just want to actually, we talked a lot about things, but I think it all comes back to trust. And trust is, of course, because of what we do, is one of our other core values. And I remember trust. I had a grandfather who was a narcissist. I loved him, so nothing too bad to say about him. But he was a type of personality that you had to earn his trust, and you had to earn his trust every single
always, yeah.
time. And then when I had my last executive assistant job, I had the greatest boss ever. And then he would say, you don't need to earn my trust. I give you my trust 100%. What you do with that is your business. If you're going to chip at it, we're going to have a conversation. And that was so liberating for me, not to be this like little hamster, to be trying to earn somebody's trust. So I learned from that, and that's my mentality. I give you the trust right away. I hire you. I trust you 100%. What you do with that is on you.
Yeah, I love it. I'm the same way. You have my trust till you break it.
Yeah.
Like, it's that easy. Why wouldn't I? I just don't,
Yeah.
I don't, I don't think the world's against me. Okay. I'm just like, I'm hiring great people. I want them to work. I trust you, do your thing. Let's get this stuff done. We're all here together. Let's do it. You know, and when I would have someone who would break it, you know, it's one of the little things that I got when If someone keeps telling you you can trust them, you can't. Okay. They shouldn't have to tell you again and again you can trust them. That is a red flag for anyone who's never thought of this. Because every time I've run into that, there's an old saying about being powerful. There, I think it was on Newsweek magazine back in the 70s, but it's being powerful is like being a woman. If you have to tell someone you are, you aren't. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's that. So they have to tell you how trustworthy they are, especially more than once. Again, and again, you're like, you can't trust this person at all. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just one of those life lessons from 35 years plus in business. Like that's really consistent. So, I give you that assumption because I think people are naturally trustworthy,
Yeah.
right? Until they're not. So,
Yeah. And that comes to surface really quickly. Like I have, like for example, we have, team members leaving and then maybe they take a client. I have no time to stake them out and
yeah,
just to check it out. Like, are they really showing up at that client's house? Like, whatever. If you did that, that's on you. I will never ever trust you again, right? So something could happen. It happened before. You might want to come back to us. I know that about you, and I'm just gonna say, no, thank you very
right.
much. Best of luck, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing, and let's real quick, let's talk about the taking a client. Because we all have businesses and we all get like someone, young energy, they want to do their own business, how they'll take your clients. This is one of the entrepreneurial fears. Okay. And it shouldn't be a real fear. Okay. I want to talk about like you need to let that go. Like if someone, because think about it, we use your situation. Someone takes a client. Okay. Did they really take them? Why
They
did
were
they
not
go
your
with them?
client,
There you go. Right.
not your client to begin with,
Right.
right?
So it's like good. I just
Yeah.
good. Okay. Because I don't sure them because if they're doing that, we either you drop the ball, like there's something really broken in my system that people want to leave because I'm a big fan of lifetime profitable value. How long do we get to keep and serve a client? Okay, that's what you evaluate a business on. So if we can't keep them, something's broken. If someone
Absolutely.
who works for me can take my clients, something's broken in my system. So if that does happen, you know right what's broken. Forget about that guy or girl, whoever it was who took it. What's broken in my system? We should never lose a client like that.
I had, so when I started to work with Vince, he said I need to raise my prices because at that time I was already running my cleaning business for 7 years and I have never had a price increase. So I
Oh,
was scared. I was really, really scared. And then he explained to me the 20/80 rule that you're going to lose, 20% of the clients that, are not willing to pay, but you're going to make that money back on that 80% who said, yeah, okay, no problem. I tell you, it was a social experiment. I lost those clients who I thought they were like the most loyal, the best clients I've ever had. And some were actually quite rude. So it was very interesting. I encourage a lot of business owners to do that social experiment
yep,
because you're not going. So I raised prices for 41 clients and I only lost 7.
yep, perfect. You're way ahead. You just
Yeah.
increased your straight because remember when you increase prices, I don't care if it's $5, okay, a month or whatever. That's pure profit. There's no additional cost of goods sold. There's no anything. Overhead's the same. You just made $5 per 40 off times 40 clients or whatever, right? And the 7 you lost, you're still making more money,
Oh yeah,
right? So
absolutely.
it's a beautiful thing. It's a
And
beautiful
then
thing.
the reason why you won't raise on those clients because you're actually not making money because there might be, like you signed them on and exactly what we talked about in the beginning, they had a life changes. Maybe they got a puppy, and then we need to spend more time in their home, but they are
Right.
not understanding of that, right? Because they don't want to pay more.
Right.
So and plus, like, I'll be honest with you, like we're a bigger cleaning company, so we're on par with the cleaning companies here in Calgary, but still very expensive. because
Right.
what customers are paying for is that reliability compared to a cleaning lady who is, if they fall or if they have a family issue or whatever, they are not going to show up. Where we
Right.
are showing up every week, every second week, every fourth week.
Yeah. Really important to understand. It's another great takeaway that you've got to understand that I've always been thinking I want to serve at the highest level. Okay. Because I know, and people, they don't understand this if they haven't done it, but the higher the level you are, meaning the higher level of client, right? Whether it's the engagement, the money, whatever it is, they actually have a greater appreciation for what you do. People think they're going to be all snobby and this. No, you don't know those people. That's not. They totally value what you do, right? They appreciate you. They take care of you. I had a guy. I mean, the guy was a billionaire, right? He'd come out and we built water features. So like we're dirty, we're building stuff, we're working around the yard, did all kinds of stuff for him, right? He just come out and just hand hundreds to my guys. Just you guys are awesome. See you later. And he leaves. He had this gratitude, for what we were able to do for his play, because we did some really beautiful stuff for him, but he just loved us for it. Those are the great clients. Those are ones you want all your clients to be like. And when you get to those levels, that's who you start to serve, and it elevates your team, because all of a sudden it's who you're around, right? We all know about the circle of friends, the 5 closest people, and all that great stuff. Your clients are the same thing. As an employee working around those people, it's an inspiration. It was for me. That's why I became successful, because I was around real successful people in a working capacity at first, and then I became them. Because I'm like, I want to be that.
Yeah.
But they were they were self-made people, and then I'm like, well, I can do that. And they love to help the up and comer. That's the other thing. Like you as a
Yeah.
business, when you work with those people and they see you're delivering that high level of quality, that cleanliness, everything, the whole, they're like, yeah, she's going places, and they'll help you, right? They'll refer you to other
Yeah.
clients like them.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And you got to build your network. And your network, you always have to be hanging out with people who are smarter than you are, because that's where the learning comes in. And that's where you're going to have the aha moments, like, that's what I should be doing. And that's what, and I go to conferences and I try to have like maybe 3 takeaways that I take separate notes that I actually want to implement, because they give you some really great ideas. And I'm like, would have never thought about that.
Judith, as we kind of wrap this up, I was thinking, I get this often. I'll be doing something for my business where I'm working on, and that I think, well, this is really good. And I sit and I step back and I go, I am thinking way too small. I mean, an average person look at that and goes, dude, that's big. I go, that's not big. It's going to take the same effort to do a bigger thing. So I had to start over. And I created something real. I'm like, oh, I like 10x this thing, because I wasn't thinking that way. You forget of your own, sometimes you doubt your own possibilities, your own potential.
Yes.
Right. And when you look at it like you've done with your business, when you start understanding like who I'm going to serve, I've done that. I'm like, this is the game changer. I'm creating something I'm in the midst of right now that's going to be a movement, not a business. I mean, it's a business, but it's a movement. It's an industry national. It's really cool, because I just stopped and went, wait a minute, small thinker, that's not you. So I did it, and I tell you, it's the same work, but you're just thinking different and serving different. And if you can get that time in your business to do that, to look at what you're actually doing and where you're going, it's really, really important, right? Kind of like what you've done, right? You understand. I love it. I just love it. So give us some final words. Just has been a great, awesome conversation. I've really loved it. Some takeaways for the folks, whether they're thinking of getting into business or in the cleaning business now or any service business, it doesn't matter the specific. When you're a home services business, you could be a plumber. Same thing. We work with a lot of trades guys and stuff too. So just drop a little wisdom, Judith, and all this time you've been sharing with us.
I guess what we talked about is, give trust, don't be a micromanager, have systems in place, work on that constantly, and just be consistent. I think That's super important. We use Asana as a project management, and everybody has their own projects, and it's really great because we have those reoccurring tasks in there. So if my office admin is off, I fill in for her, then I know exactly what needs to be done for that day or for that week. And so consistency it kills everybody else. If you're
Yeah.
consistent, you're winning at the game.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that is, yeah, capital C on consistency, right?
Yeah.
It is the game changer for all businesses because people are not thinking. There's a great saying that goes along with that. People overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 years. And that's where consistency comes in. You can accomplish way more if you can't think in 1 year. You got to keep going. That's the consistency, the diligence, right? Really, really understanding that. So that's awesome. That's just great. So Judith, thank you so much for the time today, just spending an hour with us and really hitting this great stuff. I'd love to hear and see someone successful in your industry because I know all the challenges of it. Because again, I've worked with them, I've coached people in this, and I love what you put together. I think you built a really great thing, and I'm glad you're coaching others. Okay, to do the same thing because I think I'll put the bow on this. You understand the industry, right? So I had to do the same thing in mind. Like if you're not helping others in the industry is being hurt. You're actually being affected by not helping others do their business better. They're not going to do it just like you. They might not be as good as you, but if they can do the basics right, okay, it elevates the entire industry across the board, right? So people have a better opinion, if you will, of what you do, and that training those others so they can have a functional business, so they're able to at least serve their clients consistently. Just something as simple as that makes a big difference, right, for the industry as a whole. So I really like that you're doing that.
Yeah, and people shouldn't be afraid of networking in their own industry.
Amen.
We have a here in Calgary, and everybody's strength is different, so we refer work to each other. Like somebody only does Airbnbs, and we don't do Airbnbs, and then we learn from each other. So I think a lot of people are in my industry thinking they're protecting some secret. The secret is make it clean. How you make it clean is your business. And if you want to learn, if you're open to learn, then you can actually learn a lot of tricks and tips and just about business, about cleaning, about people, systems, so people have to be open for that.
Yeah, it's iron sharpens iron. You have to, you want to be around those people because you're all trying to figure out the same stuff.
Yeah.
Like share.
And you're bringing the industry up together.
Exactly.
Like you're united in what you believe in and what you want to run a great business. That's me. I want to be the best possible leader in my industry. So I attract those type of people who want to work with me.
Yeah. I say that about like business coaching, right? People are like, well, I go, well, listen, there's 32 million small businesses in America. I can share. Okay. I can share. I don't need to serve all 32 million. So let's all be really good. There's plenty for everybody. Okay. It's kind of that. There's a lot of houses to clean, a lot of places to clean. That's right. More than you want to clean, more than you want to clean. So, share the love.
Yeah.
Share the toilet love.
Yeah.
Oh, Judith, this has been awesome. How can people get in touch with you, follow you, the drill, kind of what do you got for us?
So we're on LinkedIn, we are on Instagram and Facebook, and then also we have a YouTube page, and it's all, if you search Clean Club Calgary, it's going to come up.
Awesome.
It's actually right up there, Clean Club Calgary.
I see it. Yeah. And I love the name.
Thank you.
That's really, I don't know if I'm sure you did, but anytime you got club, what does that mean? Community.
Well, we're together. Right.
Yes, it's membership. It's a place to belong, and it's very, very cool. So and it's just Clean Club. It's cool.
Yeah.
It just rolls. I love it. So Judith, thank you again so much. What a great conversation. And for everybody else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for joining me on the Sharpen the Spear podcast. If you're a manufacturing executive and you're serious about unlocking hidden profit, improving frontline leadership, and taking control of your floor, go to grit2lead.com right now. Run the free Sharpened Impact Simulator and discover your biggest opportunities are hiding. Don't leave millions on the table. sharpen your spear, lead from the front, and win the floor. Until next time, stay sharp.